Hello, this is Father Michael Nasser coming to you from St. Nicholas Orthodox Church here in Grand Rapids, Michigan for this week's Midweek Reflection. And this week, as you might have guessed, I'm reflecting on Holy Week. Only I'm not just reflecting on what it's like to go through Holy Week. What I want to reflect on, actually I've been talking about this a lot in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, is how do we keep the growth that we find ourselves having in Holy Week and not throw it out either on Pascha night or during Bright Week or sometime during the post-Paschal season, because that's been all too often my experience, maybe it's been yours, that we go through all this effort, we make all this growth, and then we end up just right back where we were, if not sometimes even worse. So what I want to do as quickly as I can is just review what this Holy Week is teaching us and how that can help us carry our renewed relationship with God with us as we go forward through all the rest of our life when it's not Holy Week. And the first thing I want to say is Holy Week begins with this beautiful celebration, sort of the twin feast of Lazarus Saturday and Palm Sunday. Christ is victorious over death and raising his friend Lazarus from the dead. And because of that, the crowds are waiting for him as he rides into Jerusalem humbly on the donkey on Palm Sunday. So all of our Christian life begins with Christ, and he's the victorious one. He's the one who conquers every enemy, including our worst enemy, which is death. And so our faith in Christ has to begin with him. Too often begins with our religiosity or our effort or our well-intentioned things we want to do, but it's always begin with Christ. So just like Holy Week, we begin with Christ. Then, as we go into Holy Week itself, on Holy Monday, Holy Tuesday, Holy Wednesday, we really get into this period of preparation for Christ who's coming to us. We have the bridegroom matins, where we see in his icon and we hear in the hymnography that he is the bridegroom of the church. We're his bride. He's coming to us in his sacrificial attire of the robe of mocking and the reed and all the ways he's going to be mocked and beaten. That's his dressing and his love for us, because he's coming to save us. And the hymns also reflect on the fact that we are to be ready for him when he arrives for it. So that takes us through the middle of Holy Week, and then we get to where we're going to be, God willing, tonight, and that is the celebration of Holy Unction, where we come to Christ for healing, and it's healing of body and soul. And it's actually, if you hear all the hymnography and all the things we say and all the prayers, it's both of them, but the priority is the healing of the soul. Because some of these bodies, until Christ comes back, people born, they live, they die. So we want healing. It's wonderful when it happens, but ultimately it's a spiritual healing that lasts forever that we are preparing for. And then we go into Holy Thursday and we gather with the disciples around the table of the Last Supper. And there, what do we find? We find Christ kneeling before us, washing our feet, and then feeding us with his very body and blood. This is our life as Christians. We don't go on our own energy. We feed on him. He is the one that fuels us by his broken body and his spilled blood. And then we go through that into seeing the Holy Passion, all of his suffering that we're going to hear in the Gospels of Holy Thursday, on Holy Friday, going to the Lamentations Friday night. All of this reminding us who Jesus is. We've got to have faith in the Jesus as he is, not as we're afraid he is, not as the world has mistaken that he is, with the world that in many ways has rejected him. But we see him who he is in the love of mankind as he sacrifices himself in his passion and his death. Then there's Holy Saturday, that beautiful liturgy which starts in the darkness of Lent with the purple vestments, ends in the white, and we begin to proclaim the resurrection, as we even on Holy Friday did in the Orthros of Holy Saturday and on Holy Friday night. But it's a day of rest, a day of quiet. Hopefully, as we all say, as I always encourage everyone, get a nap in. There has to be rest in the Christian life. If we're not resting, then we're not going to have the energy to go back to work again. So part of our life going forward is this cycle of working hard and resting. And then, of course, is the joy of Pascha, the explosion of joy and light and victory of life over death by Christ, who is a light that cannot be overtaken by night. That's a walk through Holy Week. It's also a walk through our lives after Holy Week. This is a pattern for all of our life. And I hope that we'll live that fully in this Holy Week and hold on to it tight as we go out through Pascha and beyond, hopefully realizing that this is the life of joy that our God has blessed us with, not just 1 week a year, but throughout our lives. So with that, I wish you all a very blessed rest of Holy Week. joyous Pascha, and a joyous life, living the Holy Week life every week of the year. God bless you. If you find this helpful, please share it, and we'll see you soon. God bless.